The date is December the 4th, 1995. The survivor's name is Mrs. Dorothy Stern. She was born Dorothy or Dvora Rappaport, R-A-P-O-P-O-R-T. I am the interviewer. My name is Richard Bassett. We are in Toronto, Canada, and the interview will be held in English. The date is December the 4th, 1995. The survivor's name is Mrs. Dorothy Stern. She was born Dorothy or Dvora Rappaport. I am the interviewer. My name is Richard Bassett, B-A-S-S-E-T-T. We are in Toronto, Canada, and the interview will be held in English. What is your name, please?
Dorothy Stern,
And when were you born?
1929, the 30th of June,
And where?
in Ostrowiec,
Where is that?
Poland.
And what was your maiden name?
Dvora Rappaport,
Rappaport? How do you spell that? Rappaport?
R-A-P-O-P-O-R-T.
What were your parents' names?
Mariam and Moshe
Do you know your mother's maiden name?
Rosenberg.
Do you know when your father was born?
No,
Did your parents survive the war?
my mother did, but my father was killed in Treblinka,
In what year?
1940.
What did your father do?
He was a wholesaler from shoes.
Did he have a business, a shop, a location?
He used to buy the raw merchandise, and afterwards he gave them away to smaller like shops, and they used to make it for him and used to sell it to the stores.
Did
He was
work-
like a wholesaler.
Did he work out of your home?
No, not from the home. He had a place like where he worked.
Do you remember it?
No, I don't.
Do you know if he had any employees?
Yes, in different städtlich, in different cities he did. Yeah.
Do you know when your father was born?
He was born in Drilch. Yeah.
So when did he come to Ostrowiec?
I don't know. I know he met my mother in Ostrowiec. And they got married a year, and afterwards, I remember I had 3 brothers and I was the only one.
The only one?
Girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
And tell me about your mother.
My mother, she was a very, very beautiful woman. I remember as a little girl. And she was wearing a sheitel a week. Religious, my father and mother, you know. Our house was kept religious. And she didn't work. As far as I know, she didn't work.
When was she born?
I don't know. I know when she died, she was 48 years old. She died 6 months after the war.
When she was, so in 1945, in other words?
Yes. After
And she
the
was
war.
48?
Yeah.
What did she die of?
A broken heart. That's what the doctor said.
Do you know about your father's family? Did he have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, he had 2 brothers. They came before the war to New York. And one of the brothers wanted to take down my father to New York. So my grandfather said, "You can take my last Kaddish." So that's why we were left in Poland. And the uncle brought me down to Canada. He had the money, so he brought me down.
And your mother's side?
My mother's side, I had only here my mother's sister. So they didn't let me into New York because 1948, they didn't let in yet from the newcomers. So he came here, my uncle from New York, and he paid my aunt the money to bring me down. So I came here.
How many brothers and sisters does your mother have altogether?
My mother had no brothers. Oh, one brother, he was a rabbi. And she had 3 sisters in Poland. Yeah.
Do you remember their names?
One was Esther. One was Ruche Malkia, and one is here. It was here at Voira, like me. She
And
died.
on your father's side, how many?
My father's only the two brothers in New York. Yeah.
Do you remember where you actually lived in Ostrovets?
In Drilje gas, Drilje. But I don't know
The number.
the number. I don't remember.
What building did you live in? Was it a house?
It was like it was a yeshiva there. It was the rabbi from Ostrovce there, and everybody's had a little like complex on their own. Yeah.
What do you remember of the actual place you lived?
We lived in that hoif. It called a hoif, and it was
The yard?
very religious people there.
How many rooms did you have?
We had one bedroom and a kitchen, and we all lived there.
What do you remember of your friends?
At home,
Mm-hmm.
I have one friend which is here, and I have Ostrovce, what I was with them, a concentration camp. But friends at home, no, I didn't have.
What about the Jewish population in Ostrovets? Do
Was
you know
big,
about that?
Was big. Was
How many?
big. I don't know exactly how many because I don't think I was interested that time. I was a young girl, you know, and went to Bais Yaakov and went afterwards to the Polish school also from Bais Yaakov. And I wasn't. Came home, make my homework, and played volleyball there with the girls at the Hoif, but that's it. I don't know exactly. I know most of them were the religious, only religious was mostly in Ostrovce.
Do you remember ever having non-Jewish friends?
No, because when I went to the non-Jewish school, they didn't like so much the Jews, you know, they didn't.
How do you know that?
Because the way they treated you,
How do they treat you?
you know, not so good, not, you know, they always say you're a Jew, you know, in Polish, you know.
How does that
And
s-
it hurts you.
What do they say in Polish?
In Polish, jesteś Żydówka, you know. So, you know, you knew that if you say that they're not so friendly, you know, with the...
Did any of these kids ever start up with you physically?
No, they didn't. The only thing they didn't like when I came with long sleeves, when it was because I was not allowed to wear short sleeves, because I went to the Jewish school and they didn't allow you to go in short sleeves.
So what happened when you came in long sleeves?
They made fun of you. You know, you look at the Židovka wears the long sleeves and this, you know, they made fun of you.
What do you remember of the town? What did Ostrovets look like?
Like a Städtel, you know. Everybody knew each other. You came to shul, you know, everybody knew each other. My three brothers, they sang by the chazan, but you know, so my mother used to take me with my father to the shul when I was little. I used to go with them.
What did the streets look like? Were they paved? Was there electricity?
Electricity we had, yes. They were paved, yes. You could go on it was also concrete, like, you know. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I used to play the hotchka, the thing.
Hopscotch?
The club, yeah, I used to play.
What language did you speak at home?
Yiddish. Yeah, you only spoke Yiddish.
What are some of the memories you have of your childhood? Some of your warm memories?
So I had the most wonderful parents. When I came home and I was making my homework and I was holding my head to think, my both parents came to me and says, "What's the matter, Dvoirala?" In Yiddish, is etwas wrong, you know? Good parents.
What kind of person was your father?
Very good father, a very good husband. As now, I can think about that he was a good husband.
What did his voice sound like?
Not harsh. No.
Was there a deep
Was
voice,
wearing-
a high voice?
Deep, not high, no. He didn't yell. He was wearing a Yiddish shittel with a kapita, you know. And I had a grandfather, he came from the village, very religious. He was davening in the shul in Ostrovtsen. He wanted to be near my father, my grandmother, both of them, but very, very religious too.
What were your grandfather and grandmother's names?
Avrum and Brandl,
On whose side?
on my side, my grandfathers, yeah.
Your mother's or your father's?
My fathers.
Your father's.
Avrum al Rappaport and Brandl Rappaport.
And your mother's side?
My mother's was Hamishima Rosenberg, with my grandfather was no more alive. And my grandmother was Ruche Malke Rosenberg.
Did the Rosenbergs live in Ostrovets?
My grandfather, when I recall, when I was born, he was dead. But my mother used to tell me that he was a rabbi, and when he died, they took him around the shul. They made with him kufis because he was very, very religious. My mother used to tell me this about my grandfather. But my grandmother knew.
What do you remember of Shabbos?
Shabbos. My father used to go to shul Friday night, brought home ochem to eat.
Brought home?
Oh, poor people, when they were in shul.
Orchem.
Orchem. They didn't go anywhere, so he took him home. And my mother didn't know they're coming, but she had enough food for them too. Yeah.
What do you remember about preparation for Shabbos?
Like I do here, challah, wine on the table, lighting the candles. Everybody got ready for Shabbos.
Do you remember your mother cooking?
Yes, my mother was
What were
cooking.
some of her favorite dishes to cook?
What she cooked, chicken soup and, chicken and fish. We had everything. We had food.
Did you help out?
My mother, no, not too much. She didn't want my help.
Why not?
Because I was young. She didn't think that I will be able to do it, you know.
You have brothers and sisters too.
I had 3 brothers, and I was the only one girl.
Who was the oldest?
Jack Rappaport, he's here, he's alive.
When was he born?
He's going to be Hanukkah 77 years old, the 5th of Hanukkah. Yeah. And I had another 2 brothers, but they were taken away to Treblinka.
What were their names?
One was Herschel and one was Shmulek.
When were they born?
Herschel, I don't remember. I am now 66, so Shmulek could have been 69, 3 years older than me. He was very young, he was taken away too. That's why my mother was saying that she killed him. She sent him to work on a train that she thought she'll save him. In the meantime, the SS came, they made a liquidation that took all the young boys to Treblinka at that time.
In what year?
That was 1940. 1940.
So your 2 younger brothers were taken.
One was taking away, the older than me, and the other one also was taking. This I don't remember, because they took him to jail, and from jail they took him to Treblinka. We were not together no more.
When did you know that they were in Treblinka?
Because when they took us back, to the ghetto in Ostrovets, we were to the ghetto, so they told us that they took him outside, and in the street, and they saw my brother there, and my grandfather, my grandmother. My father didn't want to be with us. He wanted to be with his father and mother. He didn't think they're going to take him to Treblinka, because at home, you know, a mother and a father was honored. It was different, you know. But they took him also, all of them together. Yeah.
What were your brothers like?
Very nice. They were Hitler. They were not allowed to go without a cap. And they went to school, and afterwards they sang. And on every holiday, they sang, but on the choir in the shul.
Were you close with your brothers?
Yeah, I was the youngest. They were good to me.
Did you have a favorite brother?
I had one favorite one. My second brother, Herschel. He was so good.
Why was he your favorite one?
Because he was always with me, like, you know, he told me things, he asked me questions, and he was very, very good. Although I loved them all. It was not, you know, oh, I loved them all. But if they needed something, they wanted me to bribe my father or my mother, you know, because I was the youngest. My mother and father, they would give in to me. Yeah.
Did you do that a lot?
I did some, not too much, but I did
What kind
some.
of things did they ask you to do?
Let's say they went on a date, they didn't want to wear the cap. They said, Dorothy, you stay on the veranda and we'll throw it up. My father, oh, life, you would know that. But I kept a secret. They always brought home something.
Do you remember some of the Yom Tovim celebrations like Pesach or Sukkot?
Oh, yeah, we had a sukkah. I used to help take down the food to the sukkah. And all the kids, the boys, and all of us were eating in the sukkah. All of us, yeah. Was, you know, in Passover, of course. My mother used to take with me, for me, something to eat, because I was a little girl, and a little, it was like, not a Kleenex, but a
tichel.
a tichel.
A kerchief.
A kerchief. She used to put in some food for me for the day, because they all fasted. My brothers, they were in the shul the whole day, my father and mother. But for me, my mother brought something to eat.
Did you have a lot of family, an extended family in Ostrovets?
In Ostrovets, not too many, just one. She was a teacher. And with her family, they lived in Ostrovets. My mother's sister, yeah. But my father didn't have a family, because the two brothers were here in New York. He didn't have, just before the war, my grandfather and grandmother lived in the village. That's all.
How often would you see your aunts and uncles and cousins?
When it was a holiday, we'd see each other. Yeah.
Did they come to you, or did you go out of
We
town?
invited them. We invited them. I had one cousin she didn't have. So I remember mother used to send me with calls. She had two children, and she could not afford to buy, you know, the coals to winter to get warm. So she sent me over there. Was not far. She says, where I'll go and give her Hanegitl, the coals, you know. So she'll have to warm up the food and this for the children.
Do you remember some favorite foods that you used to love?
We had everything, which you can't eat now. We had goose. We had, my father used to bring that. And we had, my father, he was bringing all the food at home. My mother didn't have to go shopping. And he brought, what do you call, carb. I remember he used to bring carb. My mother used to cook it. The cook at home used to cook the carb. And we had goose, we had, what do you call it, what we had a little place downstairs in the huif. It calls it huif, and we had when I went in the morning to school, it was what they call it when you get the milk, a goat. We had a goat. We had everything. My father used to buy like little pears, the little ones, and used to put them in hay, and they should come. They became soft, and we used to eat them. We had food. We had cabbage, like we used to make, you know, and we used to have it in the house with the barrels.
What were some of your favorite possessions? Certain toys, certain dresses that you remember?
I remember one coat I had made, they made me, my parents. It was green, and my friend, I was going with a little girl. She put the hand in her pocket, and she tore my pocket right at the beginning. So I said, "Don't worry, my parents will get me a new coat."
What was Jewish life like generally there? Were there different organizations?
My brothers, they belonged to our organization. My older brother, he belonged to, I remember he belonged to our organization.
Remember which one?
I don't remember where he belonged. I forgot which organization.
Was it a Zionist organization?
He's a Zionist, actually. Zionist, you're right. He was Zionist.
Do you remember other organizations that existed even if you didn't belong to them?
It did exist, but they didn't belong.
Which ones existed?
They're like, I don't know. I know that I don't remember, because I was not interested in organizations. I was young at that time, you know, so I was not interested.
Do you remember what you used to think about? Did you have any dreams?
When I went to school and I learned the subject, like, you know, from the Philistines, and I was learning at night, and when I learned at night, I dreamt about that, but in the morning I knew I went to school, and I knew, when the teacher asked me, I knew everything. Yeah, but what did I dream? I dreamed after the war, not before the war. Who knew it's going to happen this? What had happened?
Were you good in school?
Yes. I passed, when I finished, I passed to grade 3. And they took me concentration camp. I didn't go no more to school. Then grade 3. When I came here, I thought I'm going to go to school. But my auntie was too poor to send me. I came Friday, Monday, went to work. I wanted to go to school. But I went here Mondays and Thursdays. I learned English. That's it.
What were your favorite subjects back in Nostrovets?
In Australia? I don't know. Mostly I liked when I learned Hebrew and Bais Yaakov. But after I forgot. I knew everything, but I forgot.
Did you ever go out of Ostrovets to other neighboring towns or cities?
To Drilj, to my grandfather and grandmother. Used to go and visit. There, yeah.
Where did they live?
They lived in Drilj, near... Yeah, they had a street, a whole street with houses. They were not poor, they were wealthy people. But after the war, they took it away. They lived near a church. And he was so religious, he davened day and night, my grandfather. And they lived near a church.
They lived in a house?
A house, yes. They had a whole street, houses and stores. They owned it. They were good. They were very good.
Do you remember being happy as a child?
I was happy as a child, yeah.
What happened around 1937, 1938?
1938, I don't remember. I only remember 1939 when the Germans came in with horses, like the first to begin with, and they say, alles en schuldig die Eden. That me all everything what is happening, so the Jews, it's their fault. So my grandfather, he lived already in Ostrovce, he said, this war, the Jews are gonna be harmed. And that's what happened. Afterwards, the German gave out, bring who has gold, who has this, and who has this, you know, like the furs and the diamonds, who's got this possession, they should bring it, you know, because so they will be saved. So every Jew, whatever he had, he brought it, you know, to save their life, but didn't save them anyway. And the Poles, we used to give everything to Poles. They should hold my father just for a few hours before they made the selection to Treblinka. They sent them out right away. They were all, you know, they were no good. The Poles were just like the German. They treated us exactly like the German.
When you said the Germans came in on horses, this is just when the war broke out or before the war?
When they came to Ostrovce, to Poland, right away they say, alles en schuldig die Eden.
Do you remember when that was exactly? What month?
I don't remember the month. I remember it passed through a few months where they took us to the ghetto. That time they took us to the ghetto. But my father was no more alive with my grandparents. I didn't have no more. I was just with my mother and my older brother. But he was not in the ghetto. He was somewhere else. I don't remember. Or he was already in Auschwitz. I don't remember. I know from the Ostrovce, they took us to Auschwitz. From there.
When?
We were working in the Ostrovce. There was such a place from bricks. And I didn't want my mother to schlep the bricks, so I grabbed for her to do it for her, you know. But she, you know, I figure, you know, it's too hard for her. And one time, I got sick, I got the flu. And my mother said to me in ghetto, Dvorala, stay home. And I go to work and I bring for you a piece of paper that he told you to stay home a day. Next day I had again fever. They came the SS and they called my name, Dvoira Rappaport, and all the names who didn't go to work. Because you didn't go to work, this is sabotage. You're all gonna be killed. In the meantime, they didn't let home my mother there or the other ladies from work. They say, you wait here. They took us all down. And my mother saw me in the line. And they say, because they didn't go to work, they're all going to be shot. My mother had on her neck a gold watch hidden. She ran in and she saw the Polish guy. She said, please, save my daughter, because she had for yesterday a transfer. He ran out. He said, Dvoira Rappaport, she had a transfer for today. They shoot all of them there, and I was running when they were killing everybody there. They were all killed, and my mother saved my life.